And that's something else I wanted to talk about is a conversation that I had with an owner yesterday, and I want to kind of get your
Okay.
take on this as well. All right, so a couple points. One, um, so she's a new investor to the area. She's already the property is pending. She's talking to a lot of property management companies, and she's kind of getting some mixed news. It's on the west side, just north of Speedway. It's in an okay area. Um, Probably I would call it probably a C plus area.
Okay.
But anyway, the conversation I'm having with her is because she's a new investor into real estate, and a lot of those individuals tend to just jump on Google and like, what questions should I ask a property management company
Yeah.
that I'm exploring? And I think that that's such a recipe for disaster for a couple reasons. I think that that is inclined to get you in bed with such an inexperienced property management company. And as I dive into these questions, we'll see if you agree, because a lot of those very generic questions aren't the questions you need to be asking. Because honestly, the easiest reason why is because the person that you're on the phone with can simply lie, right? And just to earn your business, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you've lost a whole bunch of money. It's
Yeah.
so important that you're working with someone with experience, and something in your research needs to indicate that that individual does have the experience. If it's not coming through the conversation that you're having with them on the phone, something in your research, something you found on their website needs to indicate that these people are the experts in the industry, because it can cost you a tremendous amount of money if you're not working with that type of individual. All right. So enough of my rant there. Here's some of the questions. One of the questions was, what's your average turn costs? So I get this question a lot. And what's your average turn cost? This is exactly, so I think that if I want to earn your business, and I don't have very much integrity, I'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, our average turn cost, it's $500. It's
Yeah.
$1,000 for the
Yeah.
owner. Well, that's not giving you any information other than leading you astray. The
Yeah.
question that you need to ask, if you really want to know about what your turn costs, it's not going to give you a dollar figure. It's an impossible question because it varies greatly, right? The question I think you should be focusing on there, if you really want to know, or if you want to really keep your average turn cost down, is what do you do in order to keep turn costs down? Now, this is going to
Yeah.
reveal a couple things, a couple efforts that are being made by your property management company. Number one, and this is what I went into, and sometimes I can go into it kind of to a new investor. If you go into this big spiel, it can be a little bit scary to them,
Yeah.
right? Like, this guy's going on and on about stuff that I really don't understand, but I think it's so important to have this conversation with her. I don't know if she'll ever call me again, because I did. I went into this. I was like,
Yeah.
man, the question that you're asking, I would highly encourage you, being a new investor to the area. So one of the questions I would ask is, yeah, what are you doing in order to keep the turn costs down? And
Right.
so one of the biggest things that we would do is performing inspections,
Yeah.
right? And then not only just performing the inspection, because a lot of management companies will say that they perform inspections, but then what all is involved in that process? Well, you perform inspections, and then do you hold the tenant accountable during that inspection? And what's that timeline like? Given, should you find any lease violations, or
Yeah.
is the carpet overly worn? Are the walls heavily damaged during that inspection? Are you just going to notate it and then hope when the tenant moves out that that's covered by the tenant's security deposit? Because if so, that's a terrible mistake. That's
Well,
how
and then
you
like
keep your turn
what's the
costs
proof?
down.
Talking about somebody lying. You could just say, oh well, yeah, I did the inspection, everything looked good. Well, what evidence do you have that
Yeah.
an inspection was done? I mean, for example, we do a video walkthrough and we send it to our owners. I mean, good, bad, or ugly, they get a copy of it and they know exactly the condition of their property. So, yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, so those are the questions that you want to ask. Don't just jump on Google and ask those. You need to dial in what is your property manager, or what are the people you're talking to doing in order to keep costs down? And that is holding the best way to answer that, the best way to accomplish that is holding a tenant accountable throughout the lease term, and not hoping that a security deposit covers those damages at the end of their lease term, because it won't in some cases. So
Yeah.
there was one that she asked that I really wanted a bullet point here, and that's, what's your vacancy rate? And again, right? I mean, if I wanted to earn this lady's business, I could have told her, it's 2%, it's
Yeah.
it's 3%, whatever. But that what you need to be asking is, what efforts are you making in order to place tenants quicker? Well, in my what we do here at Red Door, in order to place tenants quicker, because it's advantageous for both the owner as well as the management company, right?
Yep.
Because the property is nothing but an expense until we place a tenant.
Yep.
So what are we doing in order to place a tenant quicker? Well, we do virtual walkthroughs, which a lot of times will help applications come in before the property is even ready for viewing, if it happens to be tenant occupied at the time. Uh, more importantly, it's transparent communication with the owner. It's marketing updates, right? It's
Yep.
weekly updates that are performed with the owner and making quick suggestions on market rate in order to produce applications, and that's all indicated by how many clicks, how many showings have you had on the property. Anyway, so before I ask what's your vacancy rate, I want to know what is it exactly that you're doing in order
Right.
to place tenants quicker. That's the question you want to replace that with. So
Yeah.
when I came across those questions, I really wanted to bring them up here and kind of get your 2 cents.
No, I love it. I mean, specifically on the vacancy thing, you're right. Anybody can say, "Oh, yeah, it's 5% or 8% or whatever sounds good." Um,
Yeah,
but for example, what we do, I mean, these market reports are a part of what we do to educate ourselves, to
yeah,
educate our owners, and to educate our employees to make recommendations to our owners to react quickly to the market, to know that, hey, if you have a townhouse in Westfield, well, you've got a lot of competition and your days on the market on average is going to be super high. So we need to probably be a little bit more aggressive this year on our pricing
bingo.
than maybe next year. And so that's the advice that we're going to give to our owners. And so, I mean, that's just a couple of things that we do, and we do pass that information along. Like I said, good, bad, or ugly, our owners need to know that. I mean, it doesn't do us any good if we price a townhome for $2,800 and everyone else is at 2,500, and we're like, hey, everyone else is
Yeah.
at 2,500 with 73 days on the market. We need to be below that, So I don't know. I think just like market knowledge, transparency, owner communication, all of that.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you're a new investor to any market, and I even told her on the phone, like, you don't have to work with us, but being a new investor, I really want to encourage you to ask these other questions that are going to be indicative of what you're getting into and who it is that you're going to be working with, because that decision, and she lives on the completely other side of the universe, essentially, on the other
Yep.
side of the US. Um, you partnering up with the right management company is absolutely essential to your success. So be
Make it or
sure to
break it.
ask the questions. Is the only point I wanted to make here, and yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to get across here. Is we're going to jump into these market reports, which if you're ready, we can jump in over there.